when I get carry out sometimes and I bring it back to my apartment building, like somebody will be like, "Hey, are you a delivery man?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just a human who has dinner. Like I live in this building." But if you ever want to see me go into asshole mode, like join me when I'm in the elevator carrying a pizza that's just like my dinner, and somebody's just like, "That looks good. Can I have a piece?" I like turn into like Hellboy. So Patriot Games.
Ooh.
This movie was more hardcore than I remembered. Like, you think for Jack Ryan that it's gonna be not like genial, but you're like, oh, it's gonna be well mannered to a point.
Mhm.
And then like Thora Birch is getting into car accidents and like her spleen's getting taken out, and I'm like, you didn't need to add the spleen detail.
Right.
But like, I don't know, Sean Bean, I think like there is something to be said of like, an action movie or a thriller or horror movie is only as good as like its villain. And I think he like it's good that he like fully commits where he's just like, there's the IRA, there's the evil rogue faction of the IRA with Patrick Bergen, and Sean Bean is an even more rogue faction of the rogue faction.
Yeah, I don't know. After the Hunt for Red October, I was definitely not prepared for a low concept dad movie in the sense of Patriot. I mean, Patriot Games is firmly, this is a dad not like movie. This is a like action slash family drama slash political thriller. It's not the high concept Hunt for Red October sort of like here's a scenario. It's more just like Harrison Ford will protect his family from terrorists, which is fine. And obviously Harrison Ford is going to do that a lot in the 90s. But yeah, I was sort of taken aback by Patriot Games when I watched it because I kept thinking about the last movie and being like, oh, that's right, this one, like Harrison Ford has such different Jack Ryan energy.
Was this a letdown coming off of Hunt for Red October?
They're so different
Yeah.
that it's kind of like crazy that like the only thing that's really in common is like some of the characters, and like James Earl Jones is in it and that's about it. But um the way that I look at it is like Hunt for Red October is like Scream, and Patriot Games is like Scream 2. And it's like I could watch Scream 2 or Patriot Games anytime. It's not as good as Hunt for Red October, but like if I'm looking for a revenge movie, if I'm looking for like a polo shirt death wish, then like then Patriot Games is great. And like Philip Noyce, I think, directs the hell out of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's got some really good set pieces in it, and they're really exciting and suspenseful. I just like living in this world and this vibe. I remember so back a couple of years ago when like it was summer of 2020. There was no like movie season traditionally. So like Patrick and I did a series where we just redid summer of 1992, and we basically like wrote about the main movie of that week. And then Patriot Games was one of those articles, and I reread it. And one of the things that I liked at the time, which I still like, is kind of the one thing that's sort of a carryover from Hunt for Red October is like how collaborative these movies are when it comes to, these cases or these scenarios and stuff like that. It's not just like Jack Ryan is, the single man on a mission. Like he has to work together with like there's a lot of like inner office politics and interpersonal things that he has to do. And I like that aspect of the character because it's I don't know. And then also in this one, it's just like he's got that, it's not super elegant, but like Samuel L. Jackson's like, why did you do that? Like, why did you interject yourself into this like terrorist moment?
Mhm.
And he's just like, it was just rage. I just saw something going on that was wrong, and I just couldn't stand there and not do something about it. And I like that. Whereas Jack Ryan up to this point has been like a brainy analyst, he also kind of is showing that like, this is more or less like the soldier aspect of him kicking in, where it's like I have a duty to do this. So I like that the two movies kind of like give him 3 dimensions altogether. And Harrison Ford kicks ass. Like, this is one of my, like, I obviously he kicks ass, but like 90s Harrison Ford, where he's like grouchy Boy Scout, is some of my favorite Harrison Ford. Like, eventually the Boy Scout thing just kind of goes by the wayside and he's just grouchy, which I still love.
Yeah.
But I do like, there's like a scene where Richard Harris like tries to talk to him at the hospital, and Harrison Ford just goes like,
Yeah, gives him the
and like there's not a lot of actors that can do that, and you're just like fist pumping in the air when he does it, and you know exactly what he means. And Harrison Ford is like top of his class in that regard.
It is amazing how different the energy is from Alec Baldwin. I mean, it really is a completely different energy. It's a little sleepier, it's a little grouchier, as you said, but there is that integrity, you know, where as with Baldwin, he is, as you know, as Adam alluded to, you know, sort of the dweeb, or, you know, the guy who doesn't quite fit in with the masculine guys, kind of trying to prove himself. This one, he's just like, he is just slips right in, and he is the cock of the walk when he walks in the door. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just, I mean, some of that is just, it's Harrison Ford, and you can't not have that when you're Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford just has an older energy, you know what I mean? In a good way, in a way that's more refined, more mature, more authoritative. And I think Baldwin's smarmier. You know what I mean?
He's more of a yuppie.
Yeah, he's a little bit more of a yuppie. So I don't know that he would necessarily, I don't want to say he wouldn't work, but I feel like it would just be very different energy in this particular Jack Ryan story.
This is gonna sound weird, but I've never identified with like my sister playing with her Barbies more than when I'm watching Patriot games, because I want the Jack Ryan dream house, and like if that was a toy, I would buy it. And I'm just look at this house on the lake, and like I'm just gonna, and I'm just like, oh, I gotta do these repairs around the house, Ann Archer, but like these terrorists, they might know where we are. Let's get into the cellar and stuff like that. Like I would, like even now, if they had Jack Ryan action figures, that's what I would be doing tonight.
Yeah, come on,
just like doing fan fiction. That house is amazing. What do you guys think of Ann Archer? Because like in this movie, she was distracting me because she gives every line and I like Ann Archer normally, but like every line delivery, she's like, give me a line to say, like something that would be in Patriot games.
Get him, Jack.
She'd be like, get him, Jack.
With the face, yeah.
She kind of does like the like, I nailed that line delivery. I like when the British Royal gives like that award to Jack Ryan, and then he kind of sits down and has like this grin on his face.
That's the Harrison Ford shit-eating grin. That is so like, that's my favorite Harrison Ford smile, where he's like a little stinker.
Yeah, I do like that they gave the movie that moment. And he's just like, and then Ann Archer kind of ruins it, where she's like, Sir Jack.
Yeah.
I thought Thora Birch was great. I love like seeing her pop up and stuff.
She's like, the further you get away from like the 90s and stuff like that, it's just like, oh, she was like top class like child actor. She was really, really good.
She does precocious really well, where it doesn't feel like she's being written by a 40-year-old. You know what I mean? Like it feels like she's got much more naturalism than a lot of kids who are tasked with playing the sort of preternaturally smart kid or whatever. Like, no, I really, really enjoyed her a lot in this one. Yeah, I don't generally, I like this movie. I don't know what it is. I think I was just feeling, I think because we've seen so much that comes from this kind of movie, we've seen so many imitators of this, we've seen so many offshoots of it, that I was just a little underwhelmed by it.
So for me, Patriot Games is like a meaty 3.5 out of 4. However, I demerit it a 0.5 star because every time I watch it, I'm distracted that James Horner is reusing cuts from his Aliens score.
I thought I was going crazy. Okay, I did not even look. I think by the time the movie was over, I didn't look. But that is Horner.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's
and
great.
He's has a reputation, or he had a reputation of doing that. Yeah. But it's never more distracting than in Patriot Games, where you're just like, you realize the Alien score is iconic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, overall I like this one a lot. It's like a 3 for me. It's doesn't do anything wrong. I think I was just so, it's kind of a Highlander problem again, where I was, it's like between 2 and 3, where I was 2 just jazzed me up so much, and then 3 was like, 3's good, but there's so much in 2. That's where I am with this, where I'm like, A Hunt for Red October fucking rips. I want to watch that movie every day. This one is like, yeah, all right. A little bit.
Again, I watched your YouTube video for Hunt for Red October before watching this, and like that video got me pumped up. So Patriot Games, I would probably go 3 out of 4 too. Where it felt like what's sort of what you said, Adam. Like it's it's sort of a world I just wanted to be in. It felt like a warm blanket. Like I didn't, I wasn't jazzed when it was over or during, but it's solid as hell, and I really enjoyed it. And I love, give me some '90s Harrison Ford any day.
Yeah, this movie's also, I think, like, it just chemically makes sense to me because there's things in it that I'm just so primed to enjoy, like Harrison Ford interacting with Irish people. Like, I'm the world's biggest fan of The Devil's Own. So this is like warm up to that. Or like Harrison Ford's like fighting style in the 90s, where he basically just kind of falls on you and hopes for the best.
That is, yeah.
He does do a dive. It's always a sort of,
it's always like a dive, and then hopefully like there's a wall for you to like crash into or something like that. But next time we've got Clear and Present Danger, also directed by Philip Noyce. Willem Dafoe gets added to the cast. That's where they introduce the John Clark character.
All right, well then until next time.
Come
on, Mike.